Firstly, let's take a look at the bourse and the third quarter review on it. It has risen about 14%. What will support growth in the third quarter for the bourse?
Oh, thank you so much, Fenly, and even for the observation. 14% growth is very encouraging at a market which has been depressed for most of the first half of the year. And what we are seeing is going to be able to support the economy. For one is there has been very positive sentiments about tourism in the country for the second half of the year, and also government spending in terms of the infrastructure as well as the upcoming census is going to work some bit in boosting growth.
What about the ICT sector? Stocks like Safaricom had made impressive gains there. What about them?
Well, the ICT sector also in the country has really been doing well, mainly because of the undersea fiber optic cable, which we are seeing a lot of developments on. Safaricom as well as Access is doing excellently well, and we're impressed. And Safaricom as well as Access is doing well.
Well, we're seeing a status quo remaining for the rest of the quarter with very slim chances of going beyond the current resistance level of about 3,300. What is your take on it?
We have seen as the resistance level, as you've observed, the resistance level has been at 3,300, and the market had started really rebounding very, very well until the current challenges facing the Kenyan economy, things like the food security, things like electricity and water, which is going to really affect. And we are anticipating inflation to come back in, and so that might really keep the NSE 20 within the range of 3,300.
What more do you think the government should be doing to spur economic growth in Kenya?
Well, the government, for one, should try and ensure that the infrastructure sector is doing well, as well as boosting things like the agricultural sector, which is like the backbone of Kenyan economy. And we also see the government should also come in terms of assisting, in terms of ensuring that the economic environment is positive for growth. Things like food security and such should not be a concern for a country like ours.
Well, a lot of results coming out of the banking sector in the past few weeks. Let's look at Equity Bank results, 15% drop in profitability. How can they bring up their profit levels for the second half?
Yes, the 15% drop was a bit of a shocker because Equity Bank, as you observe, has been doing excellently well, doing even triple-digit growth. So that is a major concern. It seems like their model of performance, especially their strategy for growth, is really not as promising as at now, because it seems to work very well in a growing economy, not a recession like this one. So for Equity Bank, first of all, they need to cut down on their expansion because they've been expanding aggressively, and also cut down on their costs and maybe try to reduce in terms of lending too much to high-risk sectors.
Well, there are talks that their business model is coming into question because it's not one that is for a recessionary environment, but more for a growing economy. What would your take be on it?
Well, that has seemed to be very evident in terms of some conservative banks like Standard Chartered reported very good growth, National Bank as well as others like NIC, Diamond Trust Bank, which have not been expanding and have not been opening doors for just every person. And so as a result of that, the model seems to be a bit of a challenge, though Equity Bank CEO yesterday defended that strategy, and he says that they are not going to go ahead with it. And that means that while in terms of growth, maybe especially for such a period, they might not be able to do so well, but the promising future still looks excellent for them.
Why are banks like Diamond Trust Bank and NIC having double-digit performance while Equity has got a 15% drop?
Well, banks like Diamond Trust, NIC Bank have been taking advantage of things like ICT to be able to target some of the upcoming young professionals who can be able to still save significantly and also lend to them with low risk. And also you're seeing a bit of cost management in terms of expansion, because as much as they're expanding, they're not expanding as aggressively as some of these other banks.
All right, now let's take a look at next week. What's the outlook for next week?
Well, next week we are seeing as though the market might not be as active as the way it has been this week. We opened at 3,255, and we are seeing that the market has not really grown that much. And with all the uncertainties that we are having, the electricity situation, the food crisis, as well as such things, it's going to be dependent a lot on the government stepping in and assuring investors that there is a future. So we might see the NSE 20 remaining within the same range, but some of the industrials might be going up, as well as some of the other banks like Cooperative Bank. We are yet to get their results.
Well, what is the update on the power rationing and the food crisis in the country at the moment?
At the moment, we're having a lot of high-profile meetings. Government officials as well as NGOs are coming in to be able to see what they can do. We're getting a lot of data which is coming in terms of the most affected areas like the northeastern regions, pastoralists as such who are in some of the arid and semi-arid areas. And as a result of that, the information that seems to be coming in is a bit grim, and it seems to be affecting even investors of the stock market. But we are hoping that the government will be able to counter that by coming up with very positive strategic measures.
And just before we go, give us an update on which key stocks are you keeping an eye on and which sectors are they from?
We need to look at things like Kenya Power because they're just about to announce their results, East African Breweries, as well as some of these other banks that are yet to announce like Cooperative Bank.